On today's podcast on the Arrival Lounge, we speak to Louis and Louna, based out in Victoria, Wodonga. They've been running a Facebook page called Hopping Down to Australia. It is a fantastic platform to understand and connect with fellow South African families that have lived in Australia and are moving to Australia. We get through a couple of topics, mainly where you start and how you start this immigration journey. And let's get into it. Guys, thanks again for spending your next hour or so in, hopefully not an hour, but I'm not going to keep you up for that late. What is it there now? 6 p.m. Just over 6 p.m.
Yeah, no, it's 6 o'clock. I go to bed at 8 o'clock because I get up at 10 to 4.
Yes.
So yeah,
An early shift for a stripper.
Clock is a bit different. Yeah. No, I have to get stripping, man. I have to keep stripping.
Got to pull in the dollar. No, good stuff.
Yeah.
Louna, you and I were having the conversation about where you're at the moment from second term. A lot of teachers are looking forward to a bit of a break. You guys have a 3-week break in Vic?
We've got a 2-week break in Victoria.
Okay, 2-week break. All right. Okay, so around similar to South Africa, and
very similar.
Yes, yeah, and I believe from the times that in terms of your how do I say, your terms are also very similar to South Africa.
Yes, it's between a 10 and 11 week term.
Okay.
I know there's some states like New South Wales have it 10 weeks. Victoria is between 10 and 11.
Yes.
So it depends on different states with there, but it's around the same time.
Okay.
Might be a week or
yes.
Yeah,
a little bit of a difference here and there.
That it's overlapping.
Okay. All right. We often get a question from potential candidates or families that are wanting to embark on this process, and they approach us as recruiters to find out, how do I land a job? How do I get a sponsor? And, there are so many families that experience a different way that they go through this journey. Some experience extreme hardships, some get through pretty easily. I guess it just depends on how this really all unfolds. And from just my perspective, and I'd love to give the floor to you. And when someone starts us, unfortunately, when applying for vacancies in Australia, like you go into Seek and you go into LinkedIn and all these other wonderful pages, these companies and recruiters are being bombarded with CVs from around the world, and not by one or two people. They're in the hundreds, if not thousands. Now, this poor HR department have to sift through all these CVs and trying to find a suitable candidate for this role. And a couple of things that stick out for an employer are things like getting your skills assessment or your English language test in place. And to maybe in some cases even having a visa to prove that you got working rights in Australia. And again, some people experience it differently. What is your perspective on the matter?
Where did we start? We started with the English, am I right?
Yes. I always say you have to be paper ready before you talk to a recruiter.
Yeah.
So make sure you've got all your paperwork in place. If you need to get your transcripts from a university, get that before you talk to a recruiter, because if you don't have all the paperwork in place, it just extend your time more and more. Starting with your English test is probably the best place to start, because that can make or break it.
Sure.
It can take a long time to get the necessary results that you need.
It almost broke our timeline completely because we could not. Let's make it a team effort.
A team effort.
We could not pass our English test.
No. We passed. We passed.
Yeah.
Just get that correct, but to get the scores
Yes.
Yeah.
that you
Because she's a teacher, she had to have very, very high points in order to
Yes.
qualify.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So the IELTS academic, I think, is the place that you need to start first, especially for teachers.
Yeah.
A lot of other positions, you don't need to pass it with very high results.
Yeah. Look,
But
a
especially
stripper doesn't
teachers-
exactly have to score academic results in an English test. I mean, how many
My
people do you speak
lowest-
to?
My lowest score was 7.6 out of 9. Don't come talk nonsense. I did very
That's a really good score.
deliciously, okay.
That's a really good
he
score,
got
actually.
76 for his PTE, which wasn't really bad. So
That's a
Yeah.
good score.
very surprised with that one.
Now, look, I think I'd question
so-
myself in getting
yeah,
that
it's
English
hard.
test done.
Especially for these boertjies that want to come over. I'm a boertjie myself.
Yes.
You must pull up your socks and you must start eating, sleeping, and driving and everything in English. You need to, because you know yourself. There's some applicants that struggle with the English.
Yeah.
You need to get,
Hmm.
eat some English breakfast in the morning and all that. Yeah.
There we go.
And the thing is, it's not something that is just for South Africans. It's for a lot of nationalities all over the world. They have to get the IELTS
Yes.
or the PTE under the knee. It's a requirement from the Department of Home Affairs in Australia. So a lot of people think that they can get away with, I was in an English school, or I was this, or I had all my schooling in English. It doesn't work for all the different jobs
Yes.
or all your qualifications that you need to get certified.
Yeah.
If they ask for IELTS, they want IELTS.
Yeah.
If they ask for PTE, they want a PTE.
I actually find it a bit unfair because I speak to a lot of British nationals and it takes me a while to actually understand what this guy is saying. He's English, but I have absolutely no idea what this guy is saying. You know, a lot of Scotsmen we speak to that are immigrating to Australia, same principle. I have no idea what this guy is saying. They speak so fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, the English dialect, and it's so different. And I just don't understand. But by having a British passport, you don't need to do an English test. So you bypass that.
Exactly.
And it upsets me so much because we've got teachers and engineers and doctors and all of that. Yes, they are Afrikaans, but they speak beautiful English. But because, you know, the standards are high, especially from South African, I've seen some interesting stuff take place when it comes to the English test in South Africa, where you've got teachers from Kenya, and the dialects can be different, really good English proficiency, but the dialect is very different, and you struggle to also understand what they're saying, and they're passing with flying colors. And then the Brits just, you know, you don't need to get it done, you know, nor the Scots. So it's like, that's frustrating.
We saw it here with the Indians and other Asian countries. It's really, they pass it with flying colors, but I can't understand what they say.
I have no idea what they're
We've
saying.
got a lot of Irish working at the school, and I don't understand them, but they come through because they don't need the English test.
And
So it is unfair, but unfortunately, South Africa is seen as Africa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
And as part of Africa, we need to do that.
Yeah.
And it's better I found it quite a few times that if somebody complains about my English, I tell them, I say, you know what? I had to go through an international English test that I had to score very high marks. If you can pass that test at the same level as what I had to do it,
Yeah.
then you can complain about my English.
yeah,
Until then, let's keep that to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and then when you start working and you ask them, can I take out the bin? And they're like, what? It's like,
The bin.
can I take out the bin? The bin. I said, no, the bean. What's a bean? No, this is a bean. It's not a bin.
Lost
what
in
is your-
translation there.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
What is your bin? Your pin. No, it's your pin. It's not
Yeah.
Tin, it's clean.
It's it's all different, and Australian English is not English like what we learn.
Yeah.
And especially when you live regional like we do, you get bogan in between.
Sure.
And that's not even English or Australian. It's completely something different.
Yeah, they have their own language.
They've got their
Oh, wow.
own language.
I've actually never heard
And
that before.
the
Is that like
dialects is very,
so like a
very
dialect
strong.
in Australia? Is it a type of
Yes.
language? What is that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's very hard. They have a
We can't say it politically
yeah
correct.
yeah. It's so you don't want to make people angry, but it's an English language that on its own.
Okay.
Yeah. When you speak to one of them on the phone, they're like, "Good day, mate." Blah, 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 blah. You have no idea what they're saying.
What are you saying? Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
just a completely different dialect.
Yeah.
so we start the journey of preparing towards the English language test, and we achieve the scores that we need to achieve, right? So getting your paperwork ready. I mean, as a recruiter, when placing teachers, we place a lot of electricians. Now, this is interesting because we had a couple interviews that started at about 3 o'clock this morning, South African time, and went until about 7:30 our time. So they ran over for a couple of hours. And in the workplace environment, I place a lot of guys in FMCG. So it's fast-paced movement. There's a lot of things taking place. There's a lot of breakdowns and so on and so forth. And if you can't understand English, or at least speak it properly, you get told by your foreman to do something, and there goes the guy venturing off, and he goes and does something completely different. He vanishes for like a couple of hours, comes back. Matt, where you've been? No, I went to go do this, that's, and the next thing. No, that was not what you're meant to do in any way, shape, or form. So they've lost time, they've lost money, so I think there could be a big issue there. So English, 100%. That's definitely the first place to start, and getting your paperwork in place. And then I suppose once you've got your paperwork in order, you've got two options, right? You've either got your potential workers visa process, which I believe that's how you originally got over, and then lodged your skilled migrant visa on shore.
Yes, we also did our skills assessment onshore.
Okay.
Because as a teacher for a 482, you do not need your skills assessment, but you need it for permanent residency. So you need it for your 186, and you need it for your 491s and all your other visas, but you don't need it for a 482. For a teacher, it's a little bit easier. It's the same documents that you're going to need for the registration in the state that you will teach.
It's interesting you say that. I work with quite a lot of Catholic schools out in Vic, New South Wales, parts of regional Queensland, and a lot of Christian schools. And as time has gone by, we've passed over candidates' English test results, maybe like Christian faith forms, reference of work experience, as well as reference from their pastors, and so on and so forth, just as an example. And as time has gone by, they've upped their requirements to include the skills assessment. And I think because of state requirements, there's one thing, and then a school's requirements, as you know, like every state has their own regulatory board, like SACE registration for a South African teacher is everywhere. You get SACE registered in Cape Town, you can go and teach in Limpopo, when ours is a little different. So a lot of these schools have increased their requirements, and now we receive, as recruiters, they're now wanting us to include the skills assessment requirement. But again, it does differ from school to school.
If you have it, that's fine. If you can get it, if you get it now, if you get it in a year or two, you're gonna need it eventually.
You're gonna need it anyway.
It's interesting, because that's only a requirement from the Department of Home Affairs.
Yes, exactly.
They are the only ones who need the AITSL.
Yes.
But you need to have the state registration before you can start teaching.
100%.
So I work with quite a few international teachers from other countries.
Yes.
And I know one of the one of the ladies really struggled to get her VIT registration through. And so she's employed as just educational support.
Yeah, like an
but she's
assistant.
actually a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. So that makes it difficult. But if you have your paperwork ready, and you've got that English test, then you're straight through for both.
No, good stuff.
You can do your AXL and you can do your state registration.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
do as much as possible. Get as much ready as you can. If you must do a skills assessment, do it. I mean, it's you're going to use it along the line, and try and get as much done as you possibly can, because you don't want to come by you've got the job and then, for instance, you still need to do your English test.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, sure.
The only problem with that can be that if you wait too long to get your permanent residency,
you'd have to redo
or
it.
your current, you have to redo that. So that's extra cost.
Yes.
Because it's not going to benefit you at the school.
Yeah.
It's the same paperwork.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you want to avoid that. You want to try and minimize your costs as much as possible. This is a costly exercise at the end of the day. Okay, all right. No, that gives the viewers a good perspective on it. When are you going to start taking your lines out the water, by the way? I think you might got something on the hook there, Louis.
But I think it's time for that.
Yeah, you're going to need an ocean rod there. Okay, so we start this journey, get your paperwork in order, and then we start applying for vacancies. Now, a lot of families have the two options of applying for a working visa or the skilled visa. And from what I've experienced over the years, have your goal set on a skilled visa, whether it's a 189, 190, or a 491. Have your goal set on that and try and get that as quick as you possibly can. Now, whether you get into
from the start, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
for sure.
But that's not always easy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What do you want to ask, Strong?
No, so I think, coming back to your journey, is you got in on the 482 and then you lodged your skilled visa onshore, and many families have a far higher success rates in getting their skilled visa once they're on shore. And as you said, now, Louis, it's very difficult to get it before you actually arrive in Australia. So I think for a lot of families that are out there, perhaps looking at a sponsorship, or even in Australia on a 482, try and get yourself onto a skilled visa as quick as possible. It's going to be majorly beneficial for you.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's all about cost, and then I keep my ears on the ground, and I still find out what's going on in the immigration field in Australia, because it changes so much. There's so many people on work visas, on temporary visas, and with the housing shortage and a lot of other things going on, they're trying to get those people who are onshore already to get them on a skilled visa first.
Correct.
So it's easier at the moment to be onshore and faster to get your skilled visa. But with that, nobody's going to tell you how long it's going to take.
No, absolutely.
Because we got
it's kind of like how long a string is, really.
Yeah. We got our skilled visa within 5 weeks from lodgement.
Incredible.
And I had medical issues between that too.
Sure.
So it was very fast. Another colleague of mine, also South African, he lodged around the same time, his skilled visa, and he's still waiting.
Wow. And same, obviously, your colleague, so a teacher.
A teacher.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can't say it's around the same age.
And we don't know. It could be because we used our agent.
Yeah.
He's not using the agent. So sometimes it is better to work through an agent.
Yeah.
but yeah, we can't say that's the reason
Yeah.
because it could just be in between other files on somebody's desk. You never know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So you think that Australia is cookie cutter for everything,
Yeah.
but unfortunately it's not.
Certainly not
It
the
still
case.
goes to one person that needs to make a decision.
No, good. Okay. No, I think for a lot of our viewers and you know, and a lot of your viewers, you know, it's all we have these conversations daily. You know, Sean, thank you so much for reaching out. You know, I've sent your CV through, and I'm hoping to land an opportunity. Where do I start? You know, how do I approach an interview room? Right, hold on. Let's take a couple of steps back. Let's go back to the beginning. You know, and then we will start from there. But I think that gives our viewers, as I said, a lot of perspective on the matter. And I'd like to thank you guys for your time. And I hope this video has been beneficial.
If I can add something to that,
please,
especially for teachers, a lot of the schools and departments in Australia has specific selection criteria that they're looking for. So that's an extra document that you need to add with your resume.
Good stuff.
So I know at our school, for instance, we've got quite a few vacancies, but they can't fill it because people don't fill in
the selection criteria. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Could we run through that? Do you have a couple of pointers on that?
It's all about what your previous experience is.
Okay.
But they've got specific dot points. I think it's 6 or 7 that they're looking for.
Okay.
That you need to answer in a separate document. That's a page or 2. But that will help you for a school to really look at you and say, okay, this guy filled in the selection criteria. So at the moment in Victoria, we've got all the department jobs go through one website. And one of the documents you need to upload is the selection criteria. So I'll send it through to you.
It'll be interesting to look at that. And we'll actually include that list for the viewers as well, just so they've got that.
Yes.
I think that'd be quite crucial for them to have. Awesome.
So it's very easy to Google Victorian schools selection criteria.
Okay.
And then you get all 7 of those. And filling them in is an important thing that teachers need to look at, because your resume, yes, everything's in your resume, but the principals don't look at that. They look at the selection criteria first.
Sure. Okay, good. No, perfect. Like I said, I'll include that info.
One thing I want to add as well is you've sent 3 families through to Wodonga. We've personally met all 3 families. All 3 families, well, okay. 2 families are settled in their houses already. They are happy in their jobs. Their families are happy, everything. The other family is struggling to save money up to bring his family over as well. We're going to share his story. It's going to be a great story.
Sure.
But
that's one for the books.
Our side, yeah, kudos to a New World Immigration for sending these 3 families over. They are really doing well. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing more families come over and meeting more families. And I think the most important thing is people want to know, are they going to be all right? We have not met one family that's not all right. They're all right. They're all doing all right.
No, thanks, Louis. I appreciate that. And Louna, it's been a pleasure knowing the 2 of you have also opened up your home to all 3 of those families as well. I mean, not many people do that, really. Not many people have that heart and willingness to help. It's incredible. Thank you.
Well, good, man.
Guys, thank you. Have an awesome evening.
You too.
Thank
Have
you.
A good day.
Yeah, good day. Awesome. I'll speak to you soon. Okay. Take care. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.